So we are joined here by head coach David Kasa, Zdolsek, Dominick, Nevarez, two captains here for the Poets as they come off the 5-3 victory and named the Division III national champions. David, how's it feel?
It feels great. I don't think it's really sunk in all that much, but when the game finished and to see the guys so excited and jumping in the pool, a lot of work went into this. This was our long-term goal the whole season. To work hard and accomplish a goal that you set is a really beautiful thing. And to have this euphoria of winning out and seeing these two guys finish their last water polo game here at Whittier College with a win, it's just tremendous. So excited for the guys. So proud of them. I tell them all the time I love this group of men. They're just a beautiful group of guys that work really hard, good teammates. Very, very proud of them.
And then, Dominick, for a question for you, take us through the final stages of the game. How was everyone feeling? Was there a lot of nerves? Were you focusing on just trying to finish out the game?
I think the final stages of the game were really focusing, I don't think there was that much nervousness. We were really focusing on defense. Nobody scored in the second half. For us, so we were just focusing hey, if balls aren't going to go in, then we know where to tighten it down. That's the last couple minutes out there. It's just protect the ball, do what you got to do, and defense was key.
And then Hans, moving over to you, what was the team chemistry like going into this matchup? You've played Claremont 3 times, now the 4th time this year. You're now 3-1 against them. How are you guys feeling going into the matchup?
We felt pretty confident. We've been playing them a couple of games, and we know they're a good team, but we know that if we play together, we play possession by possession, like Coach says always, we can beat anything.
Okay, and then back to you, Coach Kasa. What has led up to this victory for you today? You were undefeated here at home. You had the crowd on your side. What do you think it was?
Well, I tell the guys, that's my phone. I tell the guys that I am a what? Fundamentalist. So we work on fundamentals from day one all the way through the last day, and I like to think that defense is what we're really focusing on always. I told them this morning, let's pour everything we have in defense, in blocking the ball, in working as hard as we can, and the goals will take care of themselves. I never really imagined that would be 5-3, but it still held true, and they did, and that's one of the reasons why they were so tired offensively, I think.
And then talking about that, the lowest offensive output you've held CMS to this year, held to just 3 goals. What was the key for that defensively in the second half?
Yeah, full credit to Coach Lonzo and his staff, and CMS's defense, goalkeeper had a great game. I have a lot of respect for those guys over there. They play hard, they do things the right way, and they play great defense as well too. We had a lot of really close ones, just didn't finish, maybe a little anxious early, and then the game kind of came out where we had almost a whole period of back and forth with no scoring. And anyone who's ever done that, it takes the life out of you, and then the scoring is then going to suffer. And so it really became a defensive match, but full credit to CMS. And then our goalie was very special today, and we also had a lot of shot blocks and a lot of steals, so it was a great defensive match.
Okay, and then last question for all 3 of you. 2019 champions, the first time ever having national champions for Division III. What does it mean for Whittier College and the program, and also the sport of water polo in Division III? Hans, we'll start with you.
I think it's huge. We've been looking forward to this forever. It means a lot to the school, it means a lot to the team, all these guys. I think for the sport in general, I think it's a good step in the right direction. We'll fire up a lot of Division III teams. That's what.
Okay, Coach Kasa.
Yeah, I think we have an opportunity to win a national championship, but to win the last game of the year, and we talk about that all the time, is when you win the last game of that year, there is a feeling, like I said, euphoria before, but a feeling that is higher than anything else. And that's what this D3 championship allows us. You saw it in the water. The guys were singing and cheering. It was beautiful. It gave me the chills. And I think that it shows a lot of passion for the sport of water polo, for the opportunities at Division III, and I hope that we can promote that. It needs to be promoted, and these guys, their passion for their teammates, for their sport, for winning, for success, it was just incredible.
And Dominick, to you.
Well, they couldn't have done any better, but yeah, the past years it's been a winner of the Skyhawk tournament goes to the NCAAs, and you know the competition is just so lopsided. So now that there's opportunity for D3 teams to play against each other for a national championship, it just gives more motivation, more fire for teams to keep pushing after that conference play. So I think USA Water Polo is doing a really good job of leading us in a direction of more competition.
Fantastic. Well, that's all the questions for me. I'm now going to open up to other media.
So, Dominick, you were a former D1 player. Would you have thought of playing for a D3 program? I mean, obviously you did. You ended up here, but as you were going through your high school career, I mean, was it D3 even on the spectrum, or was it all, hey, I got to play with the best guy to be a D1 player?
Yeah, I mean, I was young. I kind of had the mentality like, hey, I want to play at the highest level. So I chose to go to a D1. And well, I fell into the path of going to Whittier. So, I think the competition is just as good. Our team, I see them just as competitive as any other D1 teams up there. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I guess to finish the thought is that, could you see, not that you're going to go back in time, but your high school self or somebody of your caliber sort of giving the guidance, hey, don't go to that program where you might sit on the bench, but come look at this D3 sort of opportunity. How, because here you are, right? You're national champions. If you went to Cal Baptist or, I don't know, name another mid-level D1 school, you're probably not in the same position. So does that sort of resonate that, this D3 experience was really far more than you could have ever imagined?
Yeah, I mean, if I, sorry, can you repeat that? Last part of the question?
I have many thoughts in my head. Yeah. But no, the basic thought is that you're in a D3 program and you start off a D1 program, and next person in your situation.
Oh yeah, I would say, definitely consider D3. Like it's an amazing experience. Like everything that I went through here, like I couldn't have been more thankful for, the road that I was given. So I think D3 is kind of looked down upon just because it's D3, but our like Skyhawk teams have been competing with D1 teams all season. So I would look into it if someone else was in my shoes.
God, and I think you're going to be on the recruiting wagon for
next
round. And Coach, to that thought, because part of what I think is great about this, not only, we talked about it, that you had the East Coast teams come out here, but this puts your conference and your division, D3, on a different level. And in the end, it's an arms race, right? I was just talking to the CMS coach, and he's like, how am I going to gear up to deal with whatever's going to happen next year in your conference? So, again, how does this sort of resonate, if you will, the ripple effect? That you've won this, but now you want to keep this and get better next year.
Yeah, well, coming from community college, we recruited every year. It was a different team, so I'm very used to that. I've been recruiting throughout this season while I work very hard, and I'll just continue to do it. And I hope that this experience, with the USA Water Polo Division III Championship shows, students and student athletes, an experience they could have, the passion of water polo that we have, the skill sets of these guys, the camaraderie, the experience that they could have. And I really believe it's an amazing thing. I talked to a lot of people today afterwards, and they thought it was just a wonderful event. They were so excited for us, but just overall event in general. And it brings a lot of excitement to water polo at this level. And I think it brings us a lot of opportunities for people if they can visually see it.
And Hans, were you here last year?
I was.
So, because one of the other things that I've sort of gathered is that there was an influx of a lot of new personalities And I can tell you from experience, St. Francis Brooklyn has a very diverse personality,
Right.
and a terrible pool, by the way, but more to the point, their personalities don't always mesh. So this thing that sort of at the end seems so seamless and it all works, what were the specific things that it took so that you brought in some very skilled players who you had not played with before and made a cohesive whole that ends up here with the national championship?
Just a side note, there's actually a Swede going to San Francisco right now, so that's kind of fun.
Interesting.
Hans is a Swede.
I'm Swedish.
Yeah, I got that.
That's cool.
I included that after the fact, because I said the international roster and I missed you. the first time.
Exactly, yeah. No, but I think overall we've been like a really connected team from the start,
Mhm.
even from when I came my first year.
Mhm.
And we just had a really good chemistry the whole time. And as people came in, we just welcomed them with open arms. And I think being a more international team, we're more adaptive somehow. Like
Mhm.
coming to a new environment and adapting to that. And so we're used to coming to a new environment, and if we have an influx of other players, that's no big deal to us. We welcome them with open arms, and I think that's been really huge.
But that's not so simple. That's my ultimate point, that it doesn't just you sort of wake up and sing Kumbaya and everybody's happy.
How do we
That
do
there's-
it?
Yeah, good, there you go,
Well,
Coach.
I
You
mean-
should be asking the question.
Coach always says, it's a lot of props to Coach. He says we're a family, and
Mhm.
we are a family, and we try to include everyone in everything we do. And we see ourselves as a family, a tribe. I don't know, it's Coach.
It takes time. I mean,
Yeah, it does.
chemistry doesn't just happen overnight.
Mhm.
So through the course of the season, like we just start, like the puzzle pieces just start fitting together
Mhm.
more and more game after game. So
It's a process, just
Yeah.
like the game. We work on it every day, every week, communicating with each other, working with each other. These guys are in and out of my office, they hang out together, they eat together. And, I feel like I recruited the right people. I tried to bring in some leadership, some maturity.
Mhm.
It worked, but it's a lot of props to you too, because you helped me make it work. So it took all of us. It's not easy to do.
Mhm.
So a lot of credit to these guys to be able to become cohesive.
Okay, good.
All right. So about the game itself, CMS pitched us a shutout in the second half, and they're obviously they're a pretty offensive team. They always have been. I feel like they're pretty known for having one excellent field player, maybe a couple, and a good goalie, a good center, and all that kind of stuff. They're always capable of scoring goals. Were you kind of worried about not getting the job done offensively there in the second half, and kind of fearing in the back of your head that they might come storming back at any time?
Well, so it's interesting, I've been in quite a few championship games at different levels, and they always have a mind of their own, and you never really know what to expect. Well, after the first quarter, we only scored one, but we had several wide open looks that we hit the bar, and they made a great save. And my mind was thinking it was going to be, this will be more of an open affair in the second half. But once we had that back and forth for a long time, I think everyone was toast and their legs were gone, and both goalkeepers had great games, both defenses were doing great. I never was really worried, and I'll tell you why, because a goal in that game felt like three. It was so hard to come by, that 2 goals. I was talking to, some other guys and our athletic director, Rock Carter, and I said, we were up by 2 and we kept having a couple close opportunities or shots and we wouldn't put it away, we hit the bar. And I was like, if we get one more, that's gonna be like having a 6-goal lead, because both teams were struggling. So I actually was never worried. And when you have a goalie that wants to have a performance like that, and guys that want to shot block like that, it gives you a lot of control. We had them, I guess, really props to the boys for blocking the ball. Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of like one of those old adages of water polo in big games, especially between two really equally leveled teams. It comes down to 6-on-5 and 5-man, right? So was there anything that you guys had kind of worked on or thought about or talked about between the first 3 matchups of the season, where there was obviously a lot more scoring, versus this one, or did you guys just kind of throw your cards on the table and just to see who would come out on top?
We make 5-man every week, all the time, and to be honest with you, we learned how to play 5-man fundamentally. There was nothing that we did different other than just learning in correct positions and shot blocking and technique And it's really, a testament to these guys. They worked on it all the time, every day, and they take pride in it. What does Coach say about shot blocks?
They're the most important stat of the game.
I told them if I could only take one stat, it would be shot blocks. I don't care about goals, but I love shot blocks, and they bought into it.
All right, Dominick, this question's for you. So obviously you came in as a senior transfer. You knew you were only going to have one shot with this team. What was the experience like for you, just kind of being like thrust into this situation and just like seeing what was going to happen? What was your mentality coming in? What kind of impact did you want to make? Obviously, in hindsight, it was a great one, but like, what was your thinking heading into all this?
Well, from the beginning, when I first came in, and when I was first talking to Kasa, there was already a lot of buzz about there's this player coming in, there's that player coming in. So I kind of already knew yeah, we're going to have a pretty high caliber team full of a lot of great players. We just need to put them together, and we can do something great. So as the season went on, everybody just starts realizing hey, we have something special here. And me personally, I felt like I started the season a little bit slow, and then I started progressing more, getting into a rhythm. And then, once playoffs starts, you start feeling it. And it's just a confidence that you have in yourself. You kind of know, what you can do, and all it takes is just that execution. And that's what we did at the end. So, great experience for me. I had that belief from the beginning of the season. I knew it was possible. I knew we were all capable, and that's it, basically.
All right, this question for Hans and Coach. So I feel like a lot of times you can kind of identify a point of inflection in a game. There's just kind of that one thing, but between what you referenced earlier, like all the back and forth, it seemed like the game just kind of went by quickly, and before you knew it, it was over. So where did things kind of change for you guys during the game? Because CMS had a multi-goal lead, and then, like I said, things just in the blink of an eye, it was all over and you guys were jumping in the pool.
I think if I had to choose one thing, it was probably when we started getting the shot blocks, to be honest with you. Because then you can see in the opponent's eyes, they're like, oh, damn, I should have made that one. And their confidence starts to go down. And we just got so much confidence off of that. So we just started trusting each other on the defense, and I think that changed the game. The fact that they didn't score, they kept getting blocked, but that was going on the whole game. I had one, and it felt so good. And I knew at that point, I knew that our defense was going to be solid for the rest of the game.
It makes me pretty excited to come up with a thing where I taught them that a shot block is more important than a goal for our team. We celebrate goals so much, and this guy is the best player, he has the most goals, and to me, shot block is a very selfless act, and there isn't even a stat, it's not recorded anywhere, but it's such a valuable thing because it's a turnover majority of the time, and then I know from playing, and we all know from playing, if you get shot blocked a few times, you tend to try to shoot more precise, or you tend to maybe not shoot. And the fact that they bought into just a little simple thing like that we work on, and that was going to be our motto, was awesome. And it showed its head today. For me, the momentum changed at the end of the second quarter. We made a little run there. We were all talking on the bench I wish we had another 2 or 3 minutes in the second quarter, because we finally got a rhythm where we scored a couple possessions in a row. And then we got halftime, and Coach Lonzo, his staff, testament to them, were able to regroup their guys, and then we saw what it was in the second half, which was a defensive game.
All right, and then last question for me, open to anybody. So obviously this is the first tournament of its kind. You guys are the first winners of it. So you guys will kind of forever be cemented in those history books for that. Just how does it feel individually to be a part of such a special moment for really American water polo?
Well, I told the boys before the year, let's be legendary. Let's win SCIAC, let's win the tournament, let's win the first, USA Division III National, USA Water Polo Division III National Championship, and they did it, and they had a lot of passion the whole way through. So very proud of them. This is a team that should go into the Hall of Fame at Whittier College, and I'll push to that to the day I am gone from here.
To be honest, it hasn't even sunk in yet. So you can ask me that question in maybe 2 weeks, and we'll see. I probably feel a little bit more passionate about this past tournament. But I don't know. So much stuff is going on right now. I'm really happy, but I feel like the moment that banner is raised, I don't know wherever it's going to go. Like this whole team's just going to come together and look at it, and we're all going to be like, damn, we did that. So
Proud of these guys.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
let me see, Coach.
Personally, I feel amazing. I can't stop smiling.
Yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations, all three of you, on the Division III National Championships for USA Water Polo.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you guys all for everything.
Thank you so much.
So she was the one jumping around.
I'm gonna go.
Robert, you left this in the rain.
Wait, not the lawn that was on.
She's still down there.
So
She's still down there, Mike.